Probably way off beat because I think I have music on here and there's music in this room. So we'll see how that works out. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. This is my Christmas in July credit card presentation, or Grinchmas in July, whichever one you want to call it. Because I know we have to start thinking about how we're going to prepare for the holidays and get all those gifts we love to give for our loved ones. So, and that's like 6 months away, which is going to go really fast. So hopefully this video will help you understand how to use your credit cards wisely so you don't get yourself in crazy debt, how to pay your credit cards so that you don't get negative reporting to the credit bureau, and how you can take advantage of some of the benefits that come with certain credit cards. So stick in here with me. We're going to have fun, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. So I kind of already went over the agenda, but just to kind of go through it again, we're going to talk about how to use your credit cards, how to correctly pay your balance, and I'm even going to throw in some information on what credit cards you will likely qualify for, because we don't want to be going to get new credit cards for holiday spending and getting denied and then having a negative inquiry on our credit report, right? So we're going to talk about that too. And then the best part is the best starter cards for cashback rewards that I have ready to talk to you guys about. So, how to use your credit cards. All right. So I know I have a lot of this information on other videos, but if you just happen to click on this one and haven't watched the other videos, I'm going to just go over all of it. So I always stress, keep your credit card utilization between 1% and 3% to have the ultimate score, to get the highest credit score possible. You want your balances below 3%. So a lot of people say 30%, and 30% it's all right. But if you're trying to have a high credit score and really be able to have that buying power, then you want to keep your balances below 1% to 3%. Never close old or unused credit cards. When you close an old credit card, you lose a big chunk of your credit score points, because that is taking credit history off your credit report. So you want to keep them open, and ways that you can keep them open is maybe pay a small bill on your credit card and have it automatically your payment automatically coming out of your checking account so you don't miss a payment, and just like set up automatic bills to come to that credit card. Say you have a credit card you're not using, it doesn't have good incentives, it was a starter card, and you just don't want to use that card. So maybe put your Google Drive on there. Like I pay $2.99 a month for my Google space. So, and then have that have an automatic payment set up for that card so that it doesn't close. Because what happens is when you don't use your credit cards, sometimes the bank will close your credit card due to inactivity, and all of a sudden you'll wake up and lost a lot of your credit score will drop, and you're like, what happened? Well, your bank closed your credit card that's not being utilized. So you wanted to keep an eye on that. Also, individualize your utilization per card. So I just talked about keeping your utilization between 1% and 3%. Well, a lot of people think that that means the overall utilization of all your cards. So say you have one card that you maxed out, and you get 2 more cards and you don't use those cards. So it brings your utilization down, which will happen. An average, it'll bring your average utilization down, which does calculate into your credit score. But if you want to optimize your credit points and make sure that you're getting the highest credit score possible, you want to keep your utilization down below 3% on each individual credit card. Never carry a balance. Never carry a balance from statement date to statement date. This is what's causing you to have high interest. When you carry a balance, two things happen. One, it impacts your utilization negatively if it's a high balance, and two, it will cause you to have it'll cause your interest to go through the roof. You will be paying interest on your balance if you are carrying a balance on your credit cards. And this is the golden rule that is super important and that will help you with everything else I just talked about, everything except for not closing credit cards, is only spend what you have. Only spend what you currently have. Credit cards are a tool. They are not free money. And I know we say this, we're like, duh, we know it's not free money. I gotta pay it back. I know that part. But do we though? Because I feel like sometimes we treat it like free money because we think we have forever and a day to pay it back, but we don't realize how doing that is causing us to lose so much money. I know that's how I've treated my credit cards in the past. So if you make sure that you only spend what's in your bank, then you are going to manage your credit cards more effectively, take advantage of the incentives, utilize credit cards to increase your credit score, to give you more buying power for more strategic purchases that can create opportunity for wealth, not debt. So that is what the plan is. So if I'm going to spend $300 at Kohl's today because I have incentives on this card, I better have $300 in my checking account because when I get home, I surely am paying my credit card balance before my statement date. All right, now that we've gone over that, so what is this? Statement date, payment date? There's a lot of confusion around that, right? All right, so let's clear this up. Your payment due date is the date that your minimum payment is due. That is the date when your interest and your minimum payment is calculated. So your payment due date is like the date that you usually pay your credit card by, right? Okay, so now your payment date is not a date that we're going to pay as much attention to anymore now that we're going to learn a new way to pay our credit cards. But this is the day that the calculation of your interest happens. The statement date is the last day of your billing cycle, which usually occurs 21 to 25 days before your due date. This record is what is going to report to the credit bureaus. So if you notice that you may pay your payment and then, like for my credit cards that I have, I have my payment date and then I have my statement date and I get an email that my statement is ready. It's that date that after they've everything is recorded on that statement. That is what reports to the credit bureau. That's why the statement date is so important for strategy, because paying your balance before your statement date is what is going to help you with your utilization. And I'm going to tell you how you can get rid of your interest. So right now we think that, like, I for a long time thought my statement date was for what I just did on my payment date, but it's for the month prior, because your statement date is 21 to 25 days before your due date. All right, so now we're going to talk about how to pay correctly, and I'm going to take you through 6 steps, because if you're like me and you're learning all this stuff, then you probably already are paying interest. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of your interest and then get on track so that you're paying your credit cards correctly, not having interest, and reporting low utilization to the credit bureaus. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to go find your due date on your statement. Now that you have that, put it aside. You're not going to need that, right? This is for calculating your interest and charges on your card only. This is not for your utilization, as I talked about before. It doesn't matter what interest rate is on this card, on a card, if you never pay any interest, as long as you pay your previous statement balance in full, right? All right. So next, you're going to find the statement date. It's also called the closing date, or it could be called the cycle end date. Find that. If you can't find it on your statement, call your credit card company, find out when it is. Like for my Capital One cards, they don't have a specific date. My statement date is 10 days after my payment due date. So I have to manually calculate that. Write this date down on your handy dandy utilization tracker that I have available for you if you click the link in my bio, where I have a store where you can pick up all these cool things to help you keep track of your finances. Now, next, 3 to 5 days before that statement date, you're going to pay down your card to 1 to 3% of the card limit. So if you have a $300 limit, you need to pay down the balance so there is $3 to $9 left on the card. The credit card will report to the credit bureau that you have 1 to 3% utilization on that card. So as soon as your statement closes and it reports your due date, will show the minimum due in 20 days or so. So because that's what calculates what your minimum payment is due, it's going to show what that is. This is the date you have to pay to avoid you have to pay prior to this date to avoid interest, but we don't care because now 2 days after the statement date, we're going to pay the card down to zero. I'm going to pay it all the way down to zero. By doing this, you eliminated your due date. I know it sounds kind of complicated, but once you get in the habit of doing this, just do it step by step, it'll make sense. Remember, you have to kind of let a month cycle happen, doing it correctly before you start to see the zero interest. And then you'll get the hang of it and just keep that up with your cards. And I have a really great utilization tracker that can help you keep track of this so that you can get in the habit of doing this and have all your dates in one place. So now your card has a zero balance. You can use it as much as you want. You can max it up. You can pay it down again. You can max it again. Do whatever you like. But look for your next cycle end date and start all over again. You're gonna wash, rinse, repeat. This is what we're doing. This is how we use our cards. We're only using our cards to basically get points, because the cash back is where we get the incentives, and that's really what we're using credit cards for, not using credit cards to pay interest anymore, right? So I hope we got that down, and I hope I didn't confuse anybody, but if I did, you have it all on the PowerPoint, and that's why it's there. All right, so here we have credit cards, score, and bureaus checked. So here I have a list of the most common credit cards, the score that you need to have that credit card on the far right of the list, and the bureaus that check. Those are the X's. You can see TransUnion, Experian, Equifax. You guys could take a screenshot of this, take a picture, look for your card and that you're interested in alphabetical order. Rewind if you need to look at this again. I also have this sheet available. During my consultations, I also give people advice about which card they should apply for, and I always update this so that I can give you which card you'll likely fit into based on your credit profile, your credit score, and what credit bureaus they check and what credit score they're looking for. So I think there might be music if this is recording correctly. So is there music? No, there's not music on this one. There's snow falling and like wind. So listen to the wind, and I don't know, maybe that's enough. Anyway, so there's that, and make sure that you're not applying for a credit card that you know you're going to get denied because you don't meet these qualifications on that credit bureau. All right, so now we're gonna get into the good stuff. All right, so the best starter rewards cards of 2023. Right now it's 2023, July, so that's why we're talking about cards and benefits of this year that I'm in right now. I know this is going to stay on the internet space forever. So if you're watching this in a future year, you may want to look for an updated video that I have on my channel and disregard all this stuff, or you can continue to listen because some of it may still apply. But this is how we are going to use these cards. So little words of wisdom. Use the cash back. Why are we doing this if we're not using the cash back and the incentives? It's like the whole reason for our new mindset of how we're using our credit cards now. So use it. Don't spend for the sake of saving. Only spend what you would originally have spent. Don't say, oh, I have this card and I'm going to get $200 cash back. I don't really have anything to spend it on, but I want to make sure I get my $200 cash back, so I'm going to spend it on something. No, don't do it. Maybe you just don't use it. You didn't need it. You didn't need to make that debt. It's a good thing. You didn't need that material thing or whatever. That's a good thing, right? So don't make up something to spend your money on. That's just going to get you in trouble. And that's not what we're trying to do anymore. Also, pay attention to how to use the benefits. Learn how to get the most out of your card. Learn your credit cards, y'all, because let me tell you, you're going to see is pretty soon. So many things I pay for in other ways, I already have the benefit on my credit card, but because I don't know my credit card's incentives, I do now, but because I didn't in the past know my credit card incentives, I was wasting money. I was paying twice for things. So know the incentives on your credit cards. There are so many things that our credit cards offer that we're not even tapping into and we're double paying for as a result. So our first card that we're going to talk about is a Wells Fargo Active Cash. This card, it requires a 700 credit score. They check all 3 credit bureaus. So how the incentives on this card is you get $200 after spending $500. So you spend $500 and you get $200 cash back. So if I know I'm going to buy my son a video game console that costs $500, I'm going to use this card for that purchase. I already have the money in my bank account, right? I'm going to use this card for that purchase, and I'm going to make that Christmas present $300, not $500. It's 0% APR for the first 12 months. Hopefully that doesn't matter for us that much because we still care about utilization. You get 2% cash back on every dollar you spend and no annual fee. Also, what I really like about this card is it gives you a cell phone coverage and there's a $25 deductible. Don't quote me on this. I believe it's up to $800 of coverage and you pay $25 for that coverage. So there we just eliminated that $20 to T-Mobile, right? I know that's what I did. So that's that card. Next, we have Chase Freedom. You will need a 750 credit score for this card. The credit bureau checked is Experian. The cool thing about this card is you get a $200 cashback rewards in that first year. 5% cash back via your travel portal. They have their own travel portal, so you'll get 5% on every dollar spent if you use it in the travel portal. 3% cash back on dining, 1.5 cash back everywhere else. Great thing about this card is Chase has a pretty amazing ecosystem. You have the Chase Sapphire, Chase Freedom. There's several good Chase cards. Once you get into their product line, you get offered other cards, you get into their ecosystem, and you can take advantage of several incentives that they offer on their different lines of credit. Next, we have American Express Blue Cash. They check Experian. 660 is the credit score you will need to have for this on your Experian credit profile. You get $200 cash back on $2,000 in 6 months. So for this card, how I would strategize that is I wouldn't be trying to get $200 cash back unless I knew I had a huge purchase to make that purchase $1,800. But like I said before, because you only have 6 months to spend that $2,000, don't make up things to buy because that's just going to get you in trouble. But if you need to buy something like a computer, like say you're buying one of your kids a computer, your spouse a computer for Christmas or something like that, then yeah, I would go for this card for that 200. The cool thing about this card is you get 3% cash back on groceries, y'all. Groceries. So to be strategic, you get this card to use for your groceries because you get 3% cash back on every dollar spent on groceries. 3% on online spending. So, hey, all of our shopping that we're doing online on Amazon, 3% cash back, and 3% at the gas station. I believe every other dollar spent is, oh, yes, I have it right there, is 1% cash back. You also get Disney benefits. So you get cash back for Disney. I don't exactly remember the amount. I don't know why I didn't put it here. But just remember American Express. I already said, guys, know your card. So that's kind of your job to do anyway. So if you're interested in using this card for Disney, you could go check out how much they give you cash back for Disney. But there's a Disney reward program. I think that's pretty cool. I like Disney. I live in Florida and I don't live far from Disney. So I will be visiting Disney more when I move in my new house. So that's that card. Next, we have Capital One Saver One. All right, so this card you get 200 on $1,000 spend in the first 3 months. I gotta readjust myself. I'm sitting on the floor, y'all. This credit card checks all three bureaus. 0% APR for the first 15 months. I don't think we care too much about the 0% APR, right? Because we're not paying interest. We already talked about that, and we don't want high utilization. So we shouldn't care about that. But it is good to know in case something happens. 3 months is a short amount of time to spend $1,000, but we are talking about Christmas shopping. So like I said before, if you're buying like a big ticket item for someone, you can use this card and kind of strategize how you're going to use this card for whatever, make that $1,000 item $800. But like I said before, and I will continue to say, don't make up things to spend your money on because that's just going to get us in trouble. Great thing about Capital One Saver One, 5% cash back on hotels and car rentals through the travel portal, 3% cash back on dining. So going out to eat during the holidays, remember this card, have it in your pocket. 3% cash back on streaming, good card to kind of hook your automatic payments up for Netflix, Amazon, Disney, whatever the case. 3% cash back on groceries and 1% cash back everywhere. I love the cash back on groceries because groceries are super high now. So this is another card that will give you 3% cash back on groceries. And I think this is the last card, a City Custom Cash. You'll need a 720 credit score for this card. It's going to be checked by Experian. 200 in the first 200 cash back on the first 1,500 spend in 6 months. 5% high spend categories. This is kind of big, guys. 5% high spend categories. So how you will use this card is you will use it'll calculate where you spend the most of your money, and in that area, it'll give you 5%. So you could say it's groceries. Say you're not going to use those other 3% cash back on groceries cards and you want to do groceries. Or do something else. Say online spending, online shopping. Well, if you make sure you use this card for online shopping, you will get 5% cash back. Whatever, gas, if you want to make it your gas card. and you only use this card for your gas, 5% cash back on that category. Everything else is 1%. That is super cool. And the cool thing about Citi is they have the Citi Custom Cash is you can pair it up with your Citi Double Cash. I believe it's called Double Rewards or Double Cash, where you can put two cards together by getting their other products. So you can make that 5% high spend category a 10% high spend category. Or you can have the two cards in one and to have two 5% high spend categories. So I think that's pretty cool. I also wanted to throw in another card that I'm just now learning about, actually, because I don't even have a slide for this. It is the BILT card. This is a new card, and the cool thing about this card, it does not have a signing bonus where you get like cash back for amount of spending, but it gives you $1 per BILT dollar per rent dollar. So they have their own like little portal where you can get rewards points, and it's called BILT dollars. But with this card, you can automatically pay your rent if you're a renter, and it'll automatically take it out of your bank account because you can connect the card to your checking account. So you can have your rent coming out of the BILT card, and then it'll automatically pull that money from your checking account to cover your rent, and you get a dollar BILT card. So like say like right now my rent is over $2,000 a month. That's 2,000 BILT dollars a month right there that you can redeem for cash or whatever is in the BILT system. I'm definitely going to be looking more into this card, and I'll do another video about the card, but I did want to talk about it here to put it on your radar. Other cool thing about this card is that it has no annual fee, that you can pay your rent with it. It has a premium travel card for a beginner. So this is a beginner card. I don't have the credit score needed off the top of my head, but I will be adding it to my list, and I will be talking about this card in a different video. But it is a beginner card, so I don't believe you need to be in the high 700s or mid 700s to get to qualify for this card. But those premium travel points can transfer over to American Airlines, Hyatt, and much more. And this card also has cell phone protection, $25 deductible on $800. So that's a pretty cool card. And I think I'm going to look into that. I'll probably get that for myself. I am not a card holder of that card. So that's all I have, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for joining my Christmas in July, Grinchmas in July celebration. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.